Everyone needs a little hero. Chapter 18. Helping Conditions. It was time, or rather, it had been enough time for a hero to buck up the courage to go and talk to Ray again. After the incident with Sam and the glue, and with everyone still recovering from the sickness that plagued the borrower community, it was time to apologize once again and see if Ray wanted to continue to help him on his quest to being a true hero. He pulled together his things, borrowing bag with his hook and spare lines, and headed down the familiar path toward Ray's home. It had been a while since he and Ray talked, and he kept wondering how he was going to start the conversation. Apologize again? Ask how he's been? Check in on the family after the sickness subsided. Soren's family had been one of the few to step up and bring healing remedies to the community. It was probably the best thing to start with. Come to think of it, Soren had deep bruises, which he didn't explain the last time Hiro saw the only other borrower he knew to interact freely with a human. Hiro wanted to ask Soren or his father, who Soren had spoke to shortly after the borrowers began to recover from the sickness, but never addressed the topic to him. He thought this might be a better topic to start with, making sure Soren was okay, when his thoughts were interrupted by his arrival to a door that was slightly ajar. Hiro actually stumbled back a few steps as he stared at the entrance to Ray's home. Confusion kept Hiro stock still as he surveyed the scene. There was no interior light, and, to Hiro, it looked like something out of a spooky movie. His heart pounded nervously in his chest, and his palms suddenly felt damp with nervous sweat. He could have headed back, but that was the coward's way out. If something was wrong, Hiro needed to know so he could help. He needed to check and see if the family was okay. Living up to his name, Hiro took a bold step forward and pressed on the door, at the same time slipping out his thumbtack dagger and keeping his hip lamp close. The door's lock, which was non-existent, clattered to the floor hollowly. There was no warm glow from the lights inside. There was no smell of herbs or cooking meals, like how there was in his home. It was dark, uninhabited. Hiro cautiously tiptoed into each room to find essentials and some of their more precious items missing. Other items looked like they had been overturned and ransacked, torn apart and rummaged through. What happened? He wondered to himself. Where did they go? What happened here? Did they move out? Surely not. Hiro decided it was the next best move to go and talk to their human counterpart, Ashlyn. They had met officially one time before, and if anyone knew where they were, it would be her. Surely she would be around, right? It was easier for a borrower to move from one place to another than it was for a human to move from place to place. But, on the other hand, Hiro hadn't seen them in a while. With the utmost caution, he left the abandoned home, questions swirling in his mind, and headed down for the secure line leading into the kitchen. Every step felt heavier and heavier, thoughts filled with worry for his friend. He finally arrived at the line and practically flew down it, hands gripping the line loosely, providing a rapid descent. The slide down was so fast that Hiro winced and bit back a yelp as he collided with the ground, shins aching instantly with a subtle throb. He checked that he was all right before cautiously pulling the bolt loose from the electrical socket and sliding it aside and revealing a bright, sunny kitchen in the human world. The teenage borrower wasted no time in hopping out onto the counter and walking across its surface. He didn't need to go far to hear the sounds of a clinking among a soft voice, seemingly alone. Either someone was whispering to themselves, or there were other borrowers about. Perfect. He unlatched his hook from the loop on his belt, secured it, and slid down the line onto the floor. Safely on the ground, the teen casually made his way across the floor, completely exposed, until he made it to an area by the couch, which he elected to walk under since it was the fastest way to get where he heard the voice. When he made it to the other side, his insides leapt with joy because he spotted Ray tinkering away with his tools at his side. He was muttering to himself as he continuously glanced over at some sketches and plans of his latest invention. The relief and happiness he felt turned instantly to a sickening shock as he spotted Ray's bandaged arm, which was in a sling at the borrower teen's side, as he continued his inventive tinkering. Ray sighed and, without warning, turned to come face to face with his friend, Hero. Both boys locked eyes simultaneously, but both boys possessed vastly different reactions. Ray, who had been thinking about Hero and what to tell them about his human helping, smiled in a slightly hesitant but genuine way, and waved with his injured arm out of pure habit. He winced slightly, but it didn't diminish his smile. Hero, on the other hand, felt his jaw drop, features morphing from curiosity to worry and concern. "What happened to you? Hey, how have you been?" Both boys spoke in unison, but it was Ray who recovered first and spoke. "Hey, Hero, long time no see. How are you?" asked Ray. Hero waved Ray's question away like a scent in the air as he stepped up to his friend, gingerly taking his injured arm and examining it within the bandage. "I'm fine, but you're obviously not. What happened to your arm?" demanded Hero, voice shaking with concern. He was terrified Ray's injury was because of some interaction or another with Ashlyn. But even if she had, it would have been an accident, right? Ray tugged his arm from Hero's gentle grasp and kept it close to his body. "Well, that's a bit of a long story," he muttered. You might want to sit down if you want to hear it all." "Absolutely," Hero replied without hesitation. The two of them sat down and, as thoroughly as possible, Ray told Hero the whole story, starting from the attack, Soren being shoved into the freezer, and how they were now living with Ashlyn and avoiding the borrower community. "No way," mumbled Hero in disbelief. "So you were attacked by our own?" Ray nodded stiffly. "That's why Soren's face was all busted up when I saw him come over and talk to my dad?" Ray nodded again. "It's scary to think about, but yeah, he barely recovered from being in the freezer. Ashlyn helped us get through all of that. It's a good thing we had her, and that Soren is so tough. We're all still recovering, actually, but I don't even want to think about what would have happened if..." Ray's voice cut short. Hero took a moment to let Ray breathe before asking his next question. "And they chased you and Dorian after that?" asked Hero, to which Ray nodded in response again. Hero breathed a massive sigh of relief. This was even more proof to the aspiring hero that anyone, not just humans, could be dangerous. He'd bring that up later, though. "Anyway, we're all hanging out here, and it's been great. I mean, we basically spent all our time down here anyway. We're lucky to have Ashlyn helping us," said Ray. His body posture shifted ever so slightly as he, for the first time since seeing his friend, averted his gaze. Speaking of which, I wanted to talk to you about your whole human helping." "Wait," interjected Hero, wanting to say his piece before Ray continued. The blue-eyed borrower did indeed pause and waited patiently for Hero to continue. "Before you say anything, I wanted to say sorry. I thought about it, and after our visit to Sam, I didn't think it through completely. Even though I know Sam wouldn't have hurt you, I should have listened and helped you out of the glue rather than call Sam over to do it. I didn't think about how freaked out the whole encounter might have been for you, so I'm sorry, Ray. I felt so awful this whole time about what happened, but I couldn't think of a good way to come up to you and say it. Do you forgive me?" Hero's word vomit tactic put a smile on Ray's face. It even brought out a little chuckle. Of course I forgive you, said Ray. I'm sorry for not coming over and talking about it sooner. I actually wanted to say that, if you'll have me, I'd like to keep helping people out. The stones weighing down Hero's middle suddenly vaporized. The bright-eyed borrower nodded enthusiastically. Of course, I didn't think you'd... Hold up, interrupted Ray, pointing a finger to make sure Hero understood he was serious. I have conditions and clarifications. Okay, what are they? Asked Hero, feeling the weight starting to come back. He felt slightly uneasy about these conditions Ray was about to impose. Well, first, when Ashlyn said no more talking to humans, she meant we shouldn't talk to humans, period. Even if we know them. At least, not if we can avoid it. I talked to her after everything happened, and she agreed with me, stated Ray plainly. Hero opened his mouth in protest, hoping to go to the aid of his human friends and argue that they were good and careful people, but Ray stopped him. That being said, we need to be careful around the humans you've already started talking to. I don't think Ashlyn will be mad if we say hi from time to time. Sighing, Hero nodded. He was afraid Ray would really push for not speaking to any humans ever again, or, for that matter, never want to help him in his quest to help as many humans as he could. Second, we have to be more careful in general. I know you know these people, but I don't. Also, Ashlyn was the only human I really talked to or interacted with before meeting Sam. If you want me to help, I know I will be a lot slower to go out and talk to your human friends, said Ray. But I know they won't hurt you, said Hero reassuringly, to which Ray nodded in agreement. I know, but I'm not like you, stated Ray softly. I can be outgoing when I need to be, but I'm really more of a people watcher than anything. I would prefer tinkering and a night hanging out with family than going out and interacting with everyone. Hero sighed and nodded. It was a fair point. Hero, out of most of the borrower boys his age, was one of the friendliest and outgoing of the lot. Ray was equally as friendly, but if this was a condition for his help, then that's how it needed to be. Any others? He asked. Ray pondered for a moment, but finally nodded. One other thing. I'm here to help you be safe, as well as help some of the people here in the building. That means that I'm going to be honest with Ashlyn if she asks me questions about our tasks. If I think either of us are doing something dangerous, or if we're exposing the existence of borrowers to anyone other than the people you've talked to, I will let Ashlyn know, and I won't feel comfortable helping anymore, stated Ray. You'd tell her if we talked to anyone else? Asked Hero, cautiously, now feeling mildly uneasy. Part of the fun was asking humans about their lives. How was he supposed to find out if something was wrong and help them? It's just a safety precaution. Ashlyn knows more people in the building than we do, and if someone is trying to trick us, she would know, pointed out Ray. Also, I don't like keeping secrets from my family. I'm a lousy liar, and it's obvious to anyone who knows me if I'm trying to hold something back. I'm going to always be honest with Ashlyn and my brothers, and you. The boys locked eyes once again, taking a measure of the conditions and whether someone would buckle under the contingencies. Hero, wanting to have a friend to help him for some of his bigger ideas, as well as a confidant, thought long and hard before straightening up and staking out his hand for Ray to shake. Okay, I think I can live with those terms, said Hero. I do wish you'd try it my way, but I won't force you. Deal, said Ray, reaching out and shaking Hero's hand. Both of them grinned and, like the sun peering out from behind the clouds on a dreary day, the tension between the two of them vaporized. The two of them talked about the new device Ray was making and how he was going to reinforce it with springs found in pens, since those were easier to bend and maneuver. Ray was attempting to perfect his emergency hook slinger, which he said had saved his life when he and Dorian were being chased by the strange 3 borrowers. After several hours, Dorian and Maisie made an appearance, and, a short time after, Ashlyn and Soren came back from a short outing, visiting the rooftop greenhouse for some quiet time alone. Hiro noticed that Ashlyn and Soren were acting differently, but didn't press the matter. Once back, Ashlyn began making dinner with the help of Dorian, Soren, and Maisie. As Hiro watched the family go, a thought sprung to his head. "Oh, I just thought of something. I do have one condition for us working together," stated Hiro, looking mischievously at Ray, who suddenly looked mildly concerned. "Okay," said Ray tentatively. "You have to invite me over for a movie night with the family. It would be nice to see Ashlyn again and talk to her. I still have so many questions about the human world." Ray grinned and chuckled, shaking his head in disbelief. "I think we can arrange that," stated Ray. "In fact, why not stay for dinner tonight? We'll watch a movie after. Maybe we'll even get to watch something after Maisie goes to bed." "Deal! Oh, maybe I can stay the night too?" asked Hiro. Ray chuckled and looked around at Ashlyn. "You'd have to ask Ashlyn, but maybe let's do that next time. I wouldn't want to put you out too late with your parents and everything," Ray stated. Hiro frowned, but didn't press the matter. He had been away from his family and hadn't told them he was going to be gone for dinner. "Well, how about I just come tomorrow and stay for dinner and movies then?" suggested Hiro. "Deal." The two parted ways, Hiro getting a chance to say hello to everyone before vanishing back into the walls and heading home. There were several thoughts that kept ringing in his ears based on what Ray said. First, the fact that Soren and Ashlyn were acting differently toward one another. Was it more, dare he say, affectionate? Perhaps. He wanted to ask, but he also knew some of these things were private, and that he shouldn't pry into every little detail of Ray's family's life. Second, Ray's conditions. He wanted Ray's help, but that meant he wouldn't get as much chatting time with some of his friends like Watney and Sam. His only immediate solution was that he would have to go and see his friends independently and do actual heroing work with Ray. Finally, they were attacked by other borrowers. Who were they? What were they trying to accomplish? Why would they do something like that? Were they really that afraid of Ashlyn? She was always so kind to him and Soren's family. Also, most importantly, were they still around to know he had paid the family a visit? He hoped for his sake and the sake of his family that they were no longer watching Ray's family, and that the next night they would be able to sit and watch a full-length movie together.